Hi, you guys. It is Friday, February 21st. I am so excited to be making this video for you. You are going to love me by the time I'm done with this. I am going to do the impossible and make you feel good about William Barr, Attorney General, and what's happening, what's been going on right before our eyes, and no one's even put it together. But I have. So, I promise you, I'm going to give you some good news. And I'm just going to savor this time. I am not going to rush myself because I want to make sure you hear all of this. This horoscope I have here, this I had to hunt down, but I finally got it. This horoscope is the horoscope of when Bill Barr was sworn in on February 14th, 2019. And boy, does it have a story to tell. And I decided, you know what? I am going to lay out these astrology cards. Because it's going to bring us even more depth and detail and happiness the more that we find out. So I am just like highlighting the points and the houses. And wow, I am so happy. I'm going to make you guys so happy. Yay. It's Aloha Friday. So it's good to have an Aloha Friday. I would be expecting some news soon related to Wilbur Ross and Bill Barr. Bill Barr is going to be having a lot of news coming out. But let's see, what do we have here? So look at this. So this is when he was sworn in. The 15 degrees Leo is coming over the eastern horizon. I'll let you know that the 15 degrees Leo is one of the worst degrees in the zodiac. No, beginning of August. It is known to, I cannot remember why, but this is not a good degree. I don't think it's good for the heart. So 15 degrees Leo was coming over the ascendant when Bill Barr was sworn in the Oval Office. And this first house of identity, who I am, is all about partnerships, making his partner happy. His partner, the sun, represents the president in a horoscope, leader of a nation, is in the 7th house of partnership. So that's all he's about. Partnership. Okay? Partnership in the 7th. So his secrets, retreat, hidden enemies, he has in the 12th house. Oh my gosh, that answers so much. So his secret is the sign of Sagittarius. I see. Sagittarius is the sign that rules philosophy, higher education, law enforcement. Donald Trump, his moon is in Sagittarius. And so Bill Barr's secret is not only working for the moon that day, Jupiter was 20 degrees Sagittarius. So the secret is, if you have Sagittarius in the 12th house, rules the 9th, law enforcement with lands far away, Putin's house. Does this sound like him? In the 11th house of hopes and wishes and friends and visionary revolution, he has Neptune, a big cloud. So his hopes and wishes, Neptune is the planet that dissolves things. So he is going to be the revolutionary, in that he's going to be dissolving what we normally do with law enforcement, changing it, And he's going to have a chameleon-like quality, and he's just going to blend into the background. No one's going to see him. What's crowning Bill Barr at his swearing in? He has Virgo. Oh God, ass. So when my mother-in-law used to call it Virgotizing. When you Virgotize, oh my gosh. Virgo is the one that I analyze, gets overly analytic, strives for perfection, refines things, but tends to be victim-y, tends to move the goalpost, says one thing. Oh, this is him talking. Well, you know how he talks like this, and of course I would do that because he's the servant Virgo, but blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm talking? I can't even think of his words, but you know how he talks. He is Virgotizing because it's all BS coming out of his mouth because he jumbles it up and turns it around to justify everything he does. 9th house lands far away, Putin's house. Oh, here we go. The 11th house of friends. Look at that. 11th house of friends. He is dissolving boundaries, sacrifice, a cloud of haze. 11th house of friends, Putin. Oh, and look at, there's Mars and Uranus there. So the 11th house ruled by Uranus, traditionally. So he is going to be really aggressive and do some very unique things with how he interprets the law and who it benefits. I was wondering if this is all the ideas were coming from. Yeah, Putin is driving the ag. I've seen it so much in my readings, and this just verifies that. 11th house, friends. So in the 8th house of shared resources, life, death, transformation, he has Scorpio. So look to Mars and Pluto. This is where it belongs. Scorpio's a natural ruler, the 8th house, and is transformational. So his research, his shared resources are going to be transformed. And Scorpio, taboo subjects, secrets. It's got Mercury, which would be documents, communications in Pisces where it's not strong. Neptune, sacrifice, dissolve things. Chiron, 29 degrees. Wow, that wound is really hard. I feel like that's exploiting the pain that we as a whole have been feeling, scared, not knowing, and like our government is kind of lurking, gonna attack. The 7th house, we the people, when he was sworn in, he has the 8th house, beginnings and endings. So the way he's going to govern and rule, interpret the law, is according to what's happening in the 8th house, transforming, changing the rules when it comes to the electorate and the people. Endings, beginnings. We're going to end this, we're going to begin that. And here we have Lilith. It is so painful, especially for women. 6th house of public servants, investigations, day-to-day activity. He has the 3rd house of messages. Ooh, okay, 3rd house. So there's no regard here for public messages. It's kind of like, oh, I'm a public servant. I'm going to go check my messages. In fact, I'm going to go check the messages over here in someone else's house and see what's going on. So as a public servant, he's not even occupying his space. He's like checking others' mails, emails, messaging with investigations. There you go. That's what it is. Libra. Oh my gosh, this guy, Anyway, but you're going to be happy when this is done. Okay, in the 5th house of the sun, has to do with Don Julio, the earth element. He's going to work on keeping Donald stable because that's what they really needed. That's why we had a month-long shutdown, because they couldn't shut down Mueller, so we're just going to shut down the government until we can get this Yahoo in. 4th house, U.S. defenses. He has Leo. I will do what I want. And there's nothing you can do about it. And it's going to affect the entire country's security. In the 3rd house of communications, 12th house escape, Neptune. So he's going to look at communications here in the 3rd house, locally, here at home. And then he is going to go to the 12th house and escape here, talk to someone over in Russia. Yep, that's how that's going to work. I mean, you know what? Oh my gosh. You know, it just reminds me of that Ace of Cups. You know, that thing that Lavrov installed in the over Christmas. You know what I'm talking about, the Ace of Cups, when Lavrov came and had that meeting in the Oval Office. Did a reading on that. Search my channel and you'll find it under Lavrov. So, I know, Billow, you've made a lot of money off your new role. So, income gains values. What do you have here, Billow? Pisces. I believe there is so much Neptunian, Piscean, secretive energy that nobody knows about. It keeps getting shifted and hidden around. So his income and gains, his values, I believe I have money. Well, you know what? This kind of reminds me of Pentacles and just creating something out of nothing. The promises, where's the Neptune? I believe, oh, shared resources. There you go. That's how he's going to get paid. And on the ascendant, we have the South. So this is what gives him life to the chart. This is the first clue. You should be very happy. The South Node, usually with the North Node, we're going where we're progressing. The South Node is paying off your life's debts. Welcome to Washington, Billow. So we have the South Node. So he thinks he's going to get off to a good start, but this stuff, everything's going to come back, and I will show you how. So we can just start with, okay, so this is when he was sworn in. One thing I want to tell you, because you know I talk so much about the Cancer Capricorn can opener eclipse. See the prior horse reading I did on that. It'll explain it to you. This 24-degree mark is so important because it splits apart the Saturn that leads Donald's natal Venus. They're like this. They're really close. And there's like this small area window that opens up. That eclipse laid down a fault line to open things up. Well, this is interesting because all that activity took place at 23, 24, 25 degrees Cancer. But the North Node, Bill Barr's purpose with Donald, is at 26 degrees Cancer. So as these planets lead their way around as the Earth spins, Bill Barr's job is to look the other way and protect his money and his power. Because that North Node is not sitting on them, it is beyond them. I mean, it goes over retrograde. It's been going over backwards because that's the motion that it goes. But when this was set in stone, his job was to look the other way. Interesting, huh? So there was some news today that came out, and I am just going to make your day. Because I know everyone is freaked out and nervous. I know I am too. So what I did is I went back to the video and I found, you know, this is I think the February 17th or 18th video I posted on the Queen's Horoscope. And took some timestamps of things that I said. I'm discussing this midpoint at 2 minutes 24 seconds into the video. And it has everything to do with 20 degrees Capricorn. And that is really a guiding point with everything I talk about. The reason being is because on that day, a lot of news was breaking, and I noticed that transit Jupiter, law enforcement, expanding things, and work, and then Pluto, power. I mean, you have Jupiter, Pluto together. That's like ridiculous power and wealth. And it has to do with the most powerful institutions in Washington. So the midpoint, because that was at 17 degrees and 23 degrees, the midpoint was 20 degrees Capricorn. So this tension between wealth and power was really activating this 20 degrees in Capricorn. And it most certainly did. So starting there, so it activated this energy because at the new moon eclipse on December 26th, Saturn was 20 degrees Capricorn. So this midpoint is activating what happened on December 26th. And that's when everyone's talking about their big plans that were going to happen, you know, which we found out was Soleimani. Let's just stick with this 20 degrees Capricorn. So this 20 degrees Capricorn is very, very important because you guys know I talk about the January 5th eclipse in 2019, which was the setting. We'll call that the setting, January 5th. That eclipse was the setting for that monster full moon eclipse come January 21st, which I called the beginning of the end of Donald's presidency because it eclipsed his inauguration chart exactly. But on this January 5th, the setting for things to go bad, Pluto, the planet of life, death, transformation, destruction, was at 20 degrees Capricorn. Okay, so that woke up on this day as well. Well, when we look at 20 degrees Capricorn, that was woken up again on January 10th with our full moon eclipse, because now Saturn, the planet of restrictions, sat on Pluto, stopping it, slowing it down, chill out, stop what you're doing. And so what happened to Bill Barr at 20 degrees, related to 20 degrees? Well, things get started last October. Because in last October, now the sun was 20 degrees Libra. So that day is activating the setting of the eclipses on January 5th. On that day, he talked at Notre Dame University and gave a talk about religion and how the lack of religion is the cause of societal ills and the violence and the drugs and the militant secularists and the progressives. He took that time. You know, Libra is supposed to be about the scales of justice. He took the sun, the authority of the president, to screw the people and exert some Pluto destructive power against the people by an institution, meaning Capricorn. So now this is active. This 20 degrees is definitely active, and it's going to hold the note. We're going to be outraged, but wait, there's more to come. Because this is going to hook into the January 10th now full moon eclipse, because Saturn, obstacles, is now sitting on that Pluto point, and Barr was a jerk. All this is being activated. Well, what happened then? Leading up to that, the day before, less than 24 hours conjunct, January 9th. The New York Bar Association decides, hey, we're going to exert our authority, Saturn, as an institution, Capricorn, to rebuke Bill Barr and ask Congress to investigate him because of his speech at Notre Dame. And he's biased. See how that all worked together? Right? 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 So that was a strike that came out and hit him. I'm sorry, I have these things. Let's talk about this one. We want to talk about this one, July 13th, because what's going on here? July 13th. The sun is, so July 13th, yes, 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 yes. July 13th, was I saying July 13th, the sun was 20 degrees Cancer. So on July 13th, we have this Pluto activated from the eclipse in January, because it's the sun now, the life force of the center of our galaxy, is opposing, it's stimulating Pluto. Destruction, destroy, destroy, destroy. And Capricorn, institutions. But now, see, the sun has power over Pluto. So the sun is going to say what it's going to do. On that day, there were ICE protests. Remember, they were going to do those ICE raids like in the major cities. Oh, and Pelosi told Donald not to do that. Remember that? That was a brilliant move by her. I forget what the aspect was. But she did what she needed to do at the exact right time. So there were ICE protests, and then Pence went to go visit Texas facilities and acted like there was nothing wrong, of course. So the sun was opposite those eclipses. Today, yesterday. Oh, okay, here. Sorry, this is such a mess. So why is this so significant? Pence going to Texas on July 13th with the sun being 20 degrees Cancer, opposite the Pluto from the January 5th eclipse? Well, on January 5th, you know what happened? When Pluto was 20 degrees Capricorn, Pence he led discussions about negotiations about the government being shut down. So Pence was active then about the government shutdown. And we all know the government was shut down because of the wall. Donald wanted funding for the wall, but we all know it was because he had to launder money back to Putin. I've done several readings on that. That's why. And so then Trump is tweeting about the wall is coming. We're talking about border security and immigration, blah, 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 blah. So that day of January 5th, with Pluto active at 20 degrees Capricorn, is activating a shutdown government, destruction, Pluto, government, Capricorn. The government is shut down. Pence has to help negotiations. Donald is trying to steal money. So you see how that 20 degrees Capricorn was active then related to immigration. On July 13th, the sun now is at 20 degrees Cancer opposing that. And here we're talking about immigration again. And then Barr's being an asholio on October 14th when the sun was 20 degrees Libra, to again be awful horrible. And then July 16th, we have what's called, I call it the can opener eclipse, because it was at 24 degrees and we finally get to start separating the blockage, the obstruction from Donald's money. Because Saturn, his natal Saturn is at 23 degrees, his natal Venus is at 25 degrees, and here's the eclipse at 24 degrees, separating. Got that? So we have the can opener eclipse on July 16th. What happens on that day? Wilbur Ross and Bill Barr, the House takes a vote of contempt against them for what they did regarding the census. So they're hauled in with the authority of the House, the institution. Get your butts in and do this. Okay, once again, Speaker Pelosi's billions. I swear she is an astrologer. Repeat, she held a contempt vote on Bill Barr and Wilbur Ross on July 16th during the can opener eclipse. I mean, seriously, who does that? Nancy Pelosi. That's who. So today, this morning at 3 a.m., and I talk about this in the video,